Microsoft Defender XDR, that's a term that we're hearing more and more at the moment, but what exactly is it? We're going to find out. Let's have a look. So, in the ever useful learn.microsoft.com documentation, we can see exactly what we're getting when we're talking about Microsoft Defender XDR. And it's a unified and pre and post breach, very important distinction there, enterprise defense suite that natively coordinates detection, prevention, investigation, and response across endpoints, identities, email, and applications to provide integrated protection against sophisticated attacks. Defender XDR helps security teams protect and detect their organizations by using information from other Microsoft security products. So, chances are you may already have some of these and you don't even know that you already have some or all of the elements that make up Microsoft Defender XDR. These include Microsoft Defender for Endpoint for Office 365. So let's just explain what these do. For Endpoint, very self-explanatory really. This is to protect your endpoint devices, your laptops, your Windows devices, your Mac OS, Linux devices. Defender for Office 365 is to protect everything relating to email. So it's mail and message hygiene, safe links, safe attachments, SPF, that sort of thing. Defender for Identity, it's going to extend that wonderful cloud protection that you get in Microsoft 365 to your on-premises servers and domain controllers with sensors. So it's extending that wonderful cloud protection onto on-premises infrastructure. Defender for Cloud Apps, which is all about protecting your SaaS applications. It's about detecting and preventing shadow IT in organizations. We've got vulnerability management, which is sort of tied in with Defender for Endpoint. We've got Defender for Cloud, which is like a multi-cloud defender. So in Defender for Cloud, you can do things with Azure, with Google, with AWS, and much, much more. You also onboard Microsoft Defender for servers via Microsoft Defender for Cloud. That's where you do that. Entra ID protection. This is interesting. So we're not just talking about Entra here. We're about Defender here. We're actually crossing the boundaries of security, identity, compliance products, and we're going into the identity side of things with ITDR, Entra ID protection. Entra ID, of course, formerly and still in many Microsoft portals, better known as Azure AD. Come on, Microsoft, get on with it. Microsoft data loss prevention as well. So we're crossing into purview. So lots of overlapping, which is brilliant because we always talk about defending in depth and not just siloing our security responses. And we've got app governance as well. So let's just read a little bit more about this before we drop over into the actual portal and take a look. With the integrated Defender XDR solution, security professionals can stitch together the threat signals that each of these products receive and determine the full scope and impact of the threat, how it entered the environment, what it's affected, and how it's currently impacting the organizations or the organization. It takes automatic action to prevent or stop. There's a difference between preventative or stopping, yeah. So pre and post, I guess, or stopping is kind of, that's by the by. Stop the attack and self-heal affected mailboxes, endpoints, and user identities. So self-heal, I really like that term. So it goes into a bit more detail here about what it protects. So endpoints with Defender for Endpoint. Assets with Defender Vulnerability Management, so it delivers continuous asset visibility, intelligent risk-based assessments, and built-in remediation. Email and collaboration with O365. We've got identities, there we go. Yeah, applications with cloud apps. So it's kind of expanding a bit on what we've already said there. And Defender XDR cross-product features include a single pane of glass in the Defender portal, central view for all of those other products like Purview and Entra that we've already Mentioned a combined incidents queue, automatic response to threats, self-healing, and cross-product threat hunting. So, how do we go about using this? How do we get it? What licensing do we need? Let's take a look. So here we can see another Learn article, Defender XDR Prerequisites, and it's going to tell us all about the licensing requirements and so on and so forth. So let's take a look at how we get it. Any of these licenses that I'm circling will give you access to Defender XDR features via the Microsoft Defender portal without an additional cost. When I'm talking about the Defender portal, I'm talking about security.microsoft.com. You can also get to that same portal by going to defender.microsoft.com. So you're going to need an M365 E5 or A5. You can have it with E3 with the E5 security add-on, and I'll not drain all of these. You can see for yourself here various different flavors of how you can get it. There's a note here. Let's have a look, see what these important notes are telling us. Automatic attack disruption requires Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Plan 2. And that figures because, broadly speaking, anything in Microsoft security products, you're going to need that Plan 2 or that E5 equivalent experience to do anything that is labeled as automatic labeling and purview, for example. So there we go. Check your existing licenses. And to do that, you will, of course, need to be assigned either the billing admin or the global reader role in Entra ID to be able to look at those licenses to see what you've got. What are the required permissions? You must be at least a security administrator in Microsoft Entra ID to turn on Microsoft Defender XDR. And you can get a list of roles required to use Defender XDR and information on how access to data is regulated from this little link here, which is really cool. And Microsoft recommends that you use roles, this is common sense, or it should be, you use roles with the fewest permissions. Using lower permissioned accounts helps improve security for your organization, which is always a good thing, of course. Global admin, so important to remember. It's highly privileged. It's a role that should be limited to emergency scenarios when you can't use an existing role. We've got some browser requirements. Access to Defender XDR in the Defender portal is available using Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer 11, or any HTML5 compliant web browser. So I'm in Edge right now, but I've also used it in Google Chrome. Edge and Google Chrome are my browsers of choice. Even though I'm a Mac guy, I never use I never use Safari on a Mac because, quite frankly, I think it's garbage. But that's by the by. And I very rarely use Firefox these days. Chrome and Edge are my browsers of choice, and Defender and all the other Microsoft portals I find work very nicely in those browsers. We've got some availability on US GCC, GCC High, and other US government institutions. So we can see all of that availability there. And we've got some notes here. Currently, the Microsoft Defender for Office 365 integration into the unified Defender XDR features are not available to customers in following data center locations. So be mindful of that. If you're in Norway, South Africa, United Arab Emirates, Sweden, or Singapore, you're going to have to watch out for that limitation. One question that gets asked a lot, and it can be very confusing, is what is the difference between EDR and XDR? Microsoft have some very good documentation to explain this. But broadly speaking, EDR, endpoint detection and response, and XDR, extended detection and response. EDR will protect your basic devices, your laptops, your Mac devices, your Windows devices, your Linux, your iOS, your Android. XDR is anything extended, hence the name. So in extended detection and response, you can protect things, or you can ingest things, and this ties into things like Sentinel for SOC operations. You can upload firewall logs and edge devices and anything like Defender for IoT, that sort of content. So it's taking it from the basic everyday devices to extended devices. So, and probably if I read this out, it'll say it way more articulately. than I just did. So EDR and XDR explained. Every business must protect sensitive information and technological devices against an array of constantly evolving cyber attacks. Blah, 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 blah. Endpoint detection and response and extended detection and response are two major branches of adaptive cyber threat detection and response technology that help security teams work more effectively. Well, yeah, it kind of explains it, but doesn't. Okay. With endpoint detection and response, let's see what we can do. Expand this out a bit. So we can do endpoint monitoring to instantly detect system anomalies and deviations by monitoring every endpoint device in real time. We can do incident response to quickly recover from security incidents such as DDoS attacks to reduce downtime. We can do threat hunting to proactively search for signs and sophisticated cyber threats that may have otherwise been undetectable. Threat detection, continuously collect and analyze endpoint data to consistently identify cyber threats, and threat remediation to address and resolve cyber attacks. Okay, extended detection and response. Let's have a look. This provides comprehensive detection across your security stack and helps teams deliver holistic approaches. Full visibility monitors system activity and behaviors across different layers of your security stack: endpoints, identities, cloud applications, email, and data, to quickly detect sophisticated cyber threats as they arise. So yeah, as it clearly says here, it's not just endpoints. EDR, think endpoints. XDR, think everything else. Unified investigation and response to consolidate data from different security tools, technologies, and sources within one comprehensive platform. Security beyond endpoints, I believe I already said that, but protect against advanced cyber threats that traditional security systems may not detect, such as ransomware. Automated detection and response. Discover and react to cyber threats more quickly by configuring predefined actions to happen whenever certain parameters are met. And holistic data analysis, create a centralized dashboard with security data and insights. The importance of, I'll not drain this, we've got some content on similarities between EDR and XDR, differences between EDR and XDR. So we're looking at scope of detection and data collection, some automated incident response, and the scalability and adaptability. Advantages over XDR over EDR. Let's read this one out, actually, because I think that's important to know. Organizations can implement an EDR or XDR solution to help improve visibility, detect cyber threats more efficiently, and respond to them more quickly. However, since EDR systems, I'll correct myself, since XDR systems can connect to other security environments, in addition to endpoints, XDR has several noteworthy advantages over EDR, including improved visibility, enhanced cyber threat detection, streamlined incident correlation, better scalability, protection against more advanced cyber attacks. Choosing EDR or XDR. Digital security needs typically vary from one business to the next. As you determine which cyber threat detection and response system is the right choice, it's very important to assess your organization's security needs and goals. Evaluate any relevant budget constraints. Consider the resources and expertise needed to properly implement EDR or XDR. If you don't have those resources, it maybe you need to go out of house to a partner to provide that. And analyze the potential of EDR or XDR on your existing security infrastructure. So maybe you're not ready to go full XDR yet. If not, then you certainly would want to start with EDR, I would say, without a doubt. So there is some guidance on implementing these solutions. These are very, very important points to consider and often overlooked. Definitely involve key stakeholders and decision makers. It will fail if you don't do that. It's as simple as that. You need decision makers, stakeholders involved. They might not want to be involved. They quite often will be dragged kicking and screaming, saying, I've got my day job to do. I'm too busy. It's quite often perceived as just an IT problem, and it's really not. Conducting proof of concept testing. Crucial, absolutely crucial. You must have champions groups, testing groups, pilot groups. Test. Make sure it's going to do what you want before you go into production. And change management, so important. Assess your existing security stack. Do develop a plan for how your EDR or XDR solution should fit your existing security stack to help streamline that implementation process. And training and education, massively, massively important. Adoption and change for, well, your security team and your users to get them ready for what the changes are, what the impact is. Massively, massively important. We've got some use cases there for EDR and XDR, and links at the bottom there to take you to other items, and some FAQs at the bottom there. So I encourage you to check this out in more detail. There we go, cool stuff. All right, let's see all this in action in the portal now. And this is the Defender or security portal at security.microsoft.com or defender.microsoft.com. Here we get on the homepage lots of tiles which show us how all of these unified features from not just things from within Defender, but things from Purview and from Entra come together here. For example, we've already got users at risk illustrated in here. That suggests Entra, doesn't it? So that's showing us risky users, think risky user policies, tighter conditional access, think Entra. We've got ITDR deployment health as well. So that's Defender for Identity. We've got connected SaaS apps, which relates to Defender for Cloud apps. We have information on connecting to Sentinel for SIEM, and we've got Secure Score. So lots of good things in here, all relating to our Defender XDR setup. So we can see all of these great features right here within this portal, and some of the sort of core features of the Defender portal are at the very top, but then we get into the actual specific products which make up Defender XDR. So we can see here we've got exposure management, we get an overview of that, things like attack surface reduction, and exposure management ties in and is very closely part of or related to vulnerability management. It's very related to that. We've got assets, we've got devices and identities here. So devices, we should think Endpoint by extension. So this links us to devices that are in Intune, my MacBook there, which is in twice for reasons that are very annoying, which you can see in the previous video. Identities, we can see all the identities of the people in this tenant here, which is great. We've got endpoints, so Defender for Endpoint. We can look at the configuration of Defender for Endpoint on our dashboard here. We can see how Defender for Endpoint is deployed. So I've got two deployed by Intune, not by MDE directly, not by Config Manager or unknown sources. Endpoint security policies. We can see any policies that we have here for Windows, Mac, or Linux. The identities dashboard here, we can see our unified dashboard here to see what cloud users we've got, on-prem users or hybrid users. I've only got cloud users in this instance. I've not got a hybrid environment set up on this particular tenant. So ITDR dashboard, very useful indeed. It shows you your health for Defender for Identity, Entra ID protection, conditional access. So tying into that unified view again, identity posture, highly privileged identities, etc., any health issues that you might have, and some tools to use also. So cool stuff. Email and collaboration, that ties into Defender for Office 365. So with this, you can use investigations, you can explore, review, you can set campaigns, look at the threat tracker, track and trace exchange messages based on search, and you can set attack simulation training. I'm not going to drain any of these really because I've covered a lot of this in previous videos, but this is really just to explain and set the scene for how these components, these individual products, are now making up Defender XDR. Defender XDR, as we've come to understand, is really an umbrella term for this unification of these products and principles. Defender for Cloud apps, containing the Cloud App Catalog, Cloud Discovery, or auth apps that may be in place, any files that are have been targeted by policies. And you can see the activity log, and you can manage your own policies from scratch or create them using templates. And you can get access to reports, audit features, health, permissions, and key to this is settings. Always look in the settings for any of these products. Here we have things again that make up Defender XDR. So we've got the Defender portal itself and settings for. We've got Defender XDR itself. So if we look in here, we can see the general XDR settings for things like notifications and preview features and alert service settings. So turn certain preview features on or off from here, and so on and so forth. Any rules for asset rule management, alert tuning, critical asset management, and identity and automated response. So go back into the settings. You can also configure Defender for Endpoint from here. Lots of settings in here that you can configure, how it relates to Intune, how it relates to Seam with APIs and all that sort of stuff. Email and collaboration, your settings, your core settings for Defender for Office 365. So you can configure these from in here as well. And you can set things like user tags and priority account protection, Microsoft Teams protection, cloud app security there. Again, part of XDR as we're coming to know it. And you can set up all of the settings you need for your cloud app security right from within here. And then finally, the general settings for Microsoft Sentinel if you're using that in your organization as well. So that's pretty much it. Awesome stuff. So Defender XDR, that's it in a nutshell. Not as hard as it maybe appears to be. It's an umbrella term containing several other Microsoft 365 security products. I, for one, like the way it's going. I think it's getting more unified by the day, getting easier to understand, and lots of great features in there that make Microsoft a more compelling choice for many organizations who've got their security strategy a bit over here and a bit over there. And like Rue was saying on the conversation I had with him on the previous video, my good friend Rue Campbell, nobody other than Microsoft really tells that end-to-end security story quite the same way that Microsoft do. And these portals and these technologies and capabilities are ever improving, and I'm excited to see where it's going. I really am. So let me know what you think, what your experience has been with Defender for this, that, and the other. Defender XDR makes it very much easier to group it all together now, doesn't it? But your thoughts are always welcome. Thank you so much for your support, for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, if it's helped you, give me a great big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you've not already done so. If you're planning to stick around and watch more content, that helps me so much. Check out the join button to see the membership available to you. Lots of different perks and offerings there. And hit the notifications bell as well. That's about it. So thank you so much. You all take care. Travel well. Be safe. I'll see you on another video really soon. Take care. Bye-bye.